Merry Christmas, everyone, and on to our Boxing Day fixture as Chelsea will be looking to host Fulham. Now, we're going to do a preview of this game. We're going to look at the press conference, we're going to look at the lineup, we are going to look at the tactics, and we're going to see how Enzo Maresca can get the best out of Fulham. And can Chelsea bounce back from the draw they had away at Everton?
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Now, so Chelsea are going to face Fulham, and lucky for Chelsea is that they have had a remarkable form against Fulham. I think Chelsea even beat Fulham last year at Stamford Bridge and still away. So Chelsea really need to be quite ready for this game. Now let's look at the talking points that Enzo Maresca had in his press conference. First of all, he acknowledged the threat that is Fulham. He also acknowledged how good Fulham have been this season and explained how this is also another tough game. As I always continue to tell you that there are really no easy games in the Premier League. Maresca also addressed the question about the title race, talking about how Chelsea were not quite ready, and currently he was just focusing on a game-to-game basis. He also emphasized that looking at the metrics of where Chelsea are is talking about how Chelsea actually overperforming compared to where he would expect them to be. And again, that's why I always tell people, do not get disappointed. I'm seeing a lot of people in the last video, when the views were quite low, because a lot of people had put that you had already bought the media hype that Chelsea are in a title race. No. Just relax, enjoy the performance of the team, because this is a young team. This is a team that finished 6th last season. So let's enjoy, let's be happy. We are currently 15 points better than we were last season at a time like this. So that is progress. So fans need to be happy. He also talked about the injury situation, indicating that Romeo Lavia is not quite ready to get back into the team. He also talked about Rhys James, saying that Rhys James is currently training with the team. And he also touched a bit on the Mykhailo Mudryk issue, explaining that Mudryk, they are waiting for the B sample so that they are able to know the situation on how they will move about with Mudryk. Now, that is just all he talked about, and wished again the fans a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So let's look at the lineup and my predicted lineup that I think Maresca is going to pick for this game. Now, in goal, no changes, as Robert Sanchez will retain his position. Actually, I believe he played really well. Again, the last 2 games, Sanchez has really been playing well. The claiming of crosses, the saves. Oh my God, he made very good saves. I think were it not for Sanchez, probably Chelsea would have lost at Goodison. Yeah, Harrison was really denied an open goal by Robert Sanchez. And going to the fullback pairing, going with the fullback of Gusto at right back and Marc Cucurella at left back. And again, Cucurella was really missed. Really missed. He's one of our best attacking players in that inverted fullback role, while Gusto can play as a wide center back, and we can have him making those crosses from deep, the crosses that he used to make, especially towards the far post, as I will explain later why Chelsea need to capitalize on crosses towards the far post when facing this Fulham side. The centre-back pairing remains unchanged, with Tosin Adarabioyo and Colwill holding that position. Tosin has given Chelsea that aerial strength. Chelsea look more assured with balls in the air. He's also a leader. He's also calm. Both of them are excellent ball-playing centre-backs. So I'm really happy with the partnership that they are currently forming, and hopefully they can manage to keep a clean sheet. Remember, the Brentford game, it was very unfair for Chelsea not to keep a clean sheet in that game. Midfield remains unchanged with Caicedo and Fernandez being the ones tasked to start in that midfield double pivot position. And you can clearly understand how Fernandez and Caicedo are very important. One is very important offensively, the other, Caicedo, you just know him. You need him on that pitch. His tackling, his interception, you just need Caicedo in that pitch. And the absence of Lavia justifies that. The front three, we have Sancho will start down the left, Neto will start down the right, and Palma will start down the middle. I don't know, probably Maresca might decide to start Noni, but I believe that Neto's performance was great. Sancho again needs to improve his shooting, but in this game, probably with the reintroduction of Marco Correa in the team, probably the movement of Fernandez in the team, probably Sancho might have an opportunity to thrive in this game. Leading the line is Nicholas Jackson, and I have to talk about this about Jackson. I've really watched the Everton game, and if Jackson just took his chances, then Chelsea would have won that game. So Jackson really needs to step up in this game. He missed an open net, heading the ball into an open net. He missed a sitter. So Jackson really needs to work on his finishing because now it's becoming frustrating. We don't want the Jackson of last season. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're new to this channel for more content like this. Now, let's delve into the tactics. We're going to look at the tactics that Maresca is going to use. Going to look at the tactics that Marco Silva is also going to deploy at Fulham. And let's try and look at how Fulham line up. So Fulham more likely will line up with a 4-2-3-1. The 4-2-3-1 is quite different from that of Chelsea, in that their wingers are usually starting as inside forwards, while the fullbacks are the ones who generate the width. Now, Fulham are a possession-based side and most likely will like to start by building from back, by dropping either of their centre-backs deeper, having their fullbacks starting wider, and their twin double pivots moving deeper, so that they can create that 4-2 structure, or similar what we call the 5-2 structure. Now, we saw that they did that against Manchester City, and they are trying to create overloads. But how Manchester City pressed them, it was was unique. It's also a way that I expect Chelsea to press them. Now, one pressing trigger is that Leno is not comfortable on the ball. Therefore, Jackson in particular should look to cut a passing lane to one centre back and look to press Leno at an angle. Forgive me because Fernandez's icon is not here. Just know that he's the one who's covering the second pivot high up. I really removed it mistakenly, and now it has omitted itself from the video. So just know where Leno is looking to play the ball, Fernandez is applying pressure there. So Fernandez applies pressure and wins the ball from that position. Then Chelsea can look to progress the ball, and you can see it here. Leno has played a poor ball to the fullback, and Bernardo Silva has intercepted the ball. And look at how Manchester City are well positioned. If Bernardo Silva plays this ball first time to De Bruyne and Haaland, then Manchester City just score. And that's how, by the Manchester City scored the first goal of the game, because you need to capitalize that Leno is not quite good on the ball. And that's why even Mikel Arteta agreed for his sale at Arsenal, so that they can get an opportunity to have Martinez in goal. Again, Leno has the ball, and look at how Manchester City are positionally pressing Leno. Leno is standing on the ball. He's hurriedly pressed. Again, he makes a slight blunder when looking to attempt to pass that ball to the fullback. Okay, these are actually the scenes that precede on how Bernardo Silva actually wins that ball. So Leno is not quite comfortable with the ball at his feet, and Chelsea can capitalize on that. Now, one way that Fulham can look to bypass Chelsea's press is Raul Jimenez. Jimenez is getting back to his best. Remember, after his head injury, now you are looking at the Jimenez who played for Wolves, and his hold-up play is quite great. So they can decide to go long, head the ball to Jimenez, who can look to play the ball onto the attacking midfielders, with the wingers making diagonal runs in those spaces between the fullbacks and the centre backs. Now, we've seen that he does that even against Arsenal, dropping so deep to receive the ball directly from the keeper or the centre backs, and you can see him here. he wins the ball. Once he wins the ball in this position, he lays the ball onto the number 10. The number 10 lays the ball onto the fullback or the winger who's making runs. And Jimenez does not just stand there. He turns and looks to make that run in that channel of space. So Jimenez is making this run. Once he makes this run, he's finding himself in a 1v1 situation. And Jimenez is one of the best finishers in the league. So when he gets himself into this position, he's ready to actually score a goal. So he's also a great finisher. So you just don't give him chances. And that's how Jimenez scored the first goal against Arsenal. And Arsenal found it difficult to get points into that game. So it's something that Chelsea should really look to try and capitalize. Now, one way Chelsea can counter this is having their centre backs aggressive, especially Tosin, the way we saw him so aggressive against Dominic Calvert-Lewin, winning that ball off Calvert-Lewin and looking to head the ball onto Moises Caicedo so that Caicedo can have the ability to create. Remember again, Fernandes is there. I know you cannot see Fernandes there. He's there. Just the icon that I used on Fernandes I mistakenly removed it. So we know very well that Fulham like to have their wingers coming in field, looking to narrow that position, and Iwobi in particular likes to play those balls in behind, especially in those channel spaces. Then Robinson is an aggressive fullback who likes to overlap and is a very dangerous threat in those areas, looking to cross the ball. So any Chelsea winger who's playing needs to know how to track him. Now, because of the inward position of players like Iwobi, Robinson always has an opportunity to make runs in the wide channel. And that is great. That is great. So having Robinson making that run will be very difficult, will be a threat for Chelsea. And therefore, whoever plays at the right winger needs to look to try and cover him, because the fullback will be in attacking in to cover Iwobi. And if spaces are left in the wide areas, then Robinson can whip in a good cross. And remember, Jimenez is a very deadly striker. So when he gets that opportunity, his movement is great. So he can really punish Chelsea from that kind of an opportunity. Then Chelsea's, as I've said, Chelsea's wingers need to be very, very aggressive in dropping deep, help to cover the channels. Whenever they win the ball, the space will always be there, especially in the left channel where Robinson plays, where Chelsea can look to attack. Now, what about when Chelsea have the ball? Now, when Chelsea have the ball, the situation is quite unique in that Fulham are a high pressing possession based team, so they may decide to press Chelsea in a 4-2-3-1 structure. They decide to go in this kind of format, then just know that Chelsea can move into a back four with Sanchez stepping out to play as an extra centre back while Cucurella inverts and Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo generate that ball option in midfield. When Fernandez receives this ball here, I think now you can see him. He can be able to play the ball onto maybe Marc Cucurella in this position, and Cucurella is quite dynamic, very dynamic than Gusto, in that he can receive the ball here and look to automatically play the ball onto Jadon Sancho in that instance. Now, without the ball, Chelsea can be quite dynamic in the way they play. One way that Chelsea can look to play in this kind of format is by either pushing Fernandes into that left half space and Palma into that right half space. You can see the arrow where Fernandes is coming into, and Marc Cucurella looking to occupy that midfield position. We've seen Cucurella inverting alongside Caicedo, especially towards the latter stages of Maurizio Pochettino's season. We saw Cucurella actually occupying that position. Now, teams have known how to stop a box midfield by playing with a narrow front four. We even saw Everton do that. Now, one way this can happen is by Chelsea moving into a kite with Cucurella, Palma, and Fernandes playing forward, and Chelsea using their centre backs to go directly to the wingers. And especially wingers such as Sancho and Neto need to improve their 1v1 duels, look to go through, especially Sancho. Castagna is a player that he can actually go toe to toe and maybe dribble up against. And the runs that Marco Correa usually makes, Fernandez is very good to link up with a player like Jadon Sancho, with Correa finding himself in a position where he can look, try and cross the ball for runners who are making runs in behind. Alternatively, the ball shifts towards the right, and there is Fernandez. Fernandez is finally back into this clip. Now, Neto can find himself in a position where he can whip those crosses in those far post area, because Fulham are not quite great in the far post regions. You can see here in the game against Arsenal how Chelsea are looking to target Fulham's back position in the far post area. And yeah, Chelsea needs to target the far post area, and especially Kukurea, who looks to attack those positions, will be very important. With Jadon Sancho looking to also join him in maintaining those overloads, as crosses need to come from those positions onto the far post area. Again, uh, we know that Fulham will look to try and transition, even sometimes when they have a Dama Traore. So Chelsea's counter press need to be very effective, very strong in winning that ball. Manchester City really suffered in these kind of scenarios, as Fulham was able to play through them. So whenever you lose the ball, the counter press should be on point. On point. And that is something that is very important. So you counter press, you win the ball in that position, and you immediately look to transition from a defensive setup to an attacking setup. And that's the way you actually do it. And once you are able to transition in that kind of phase, you need to be very aware of their lethal counter-attacking setup and look to contain it so that they are not able to create those kinds of scenarios where they are counter-attacking lethally and creating a lot of devastating situations that Chelsea cannot handle. So that is my tactical breakdown of the preview of Fulham against Chelsea. Now, this game is going to be pivotal in how we actually analyze Chelsea this season, because we've said Chelsea is a young team, it's not experienced. So after that setback against Everton, are Chelsea able to bounce back and win this Boxing Day fixture? That is the question. Leave your predictions in the comment section area below. In my opinion, I think Chelsea will probably win this 2-0. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.